Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's preview for the midweek Champions League game versus Dortmund. City are up 2-1 as it stands going into the game, and tonight I'm joined by a very special guest, Josh from JJD TV, and he's a Dortmund fan, and he does content all things related to Dortmund and a bit of the Canadian national team from what I see as well. So, first things first, mate. Absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. Thanks for joining us, and how are you, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm very good. I appreciate you guys having me on. Looking forward to doing a preview and kind of getting your guys' take on the game, as well as I guess the Dortmund take, and it should be pretty fun. I'm pretty excited to be here.
Yeah, cool. Before we get into all things City and Dortmund, let's just get into the chat and see who's on tonight and joining us. We got Charlie Everett's on. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing well, buddy. He says, good evening, Kurt and Josh. Come on, City, for Wednesday night. It's going to be entertaining. Yeah, us in the Champions League is usually entertaining, more for the neutrals than us these days, but hopefully we can turn that one around, mate. Sean's on. Hello, Sean. I hope you're doing well. He's already getting his predictions in early. He thinks it's going to be a very tight 1-0. Interesting. Kieran's on. Hello, mate. He says, depending how City play, we might just defend. Maybe may just be our normal way. I'm quite confident we'll get through, though. Yeah, I think a lot of us will be confident, but nervous at the same time. SOS is on. Hello, buddy. He says evening blues. And Kieran's just saying hello to everybody. Big Morgan's on. Hello, buddy. He says, because come on, City, and hello to Josh. And got Noah on, our resident Leeds fan. Very happy about his result on the weekend. I'm still buzzing from that one. Hello, Noah, mate. Hope you're doing well. Dupe's on. Hello, buddy. And Neil says, I have a feeling City might need to score twice. I have a similar feeling, Neil, but we'll get into that. I'm sure there's a lot more people be flooding in as we're going along. But hello to everybody in chat, and I hope you're all doing well as always. But before we get into sort of the meat and bones of it tonight, obviously being your first time on the channel, I just wanted to get a little bit of background information of you. Can you just tell us why and when you started supporting Dortmund, and what made you make the decision to make a YouTube channel with content related to that and your national team?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like you pointed out, I'm Canadian, so you guys might not be surprised to hear that football isn't super big in Canada, and from where I live, it's a very small town, so I have absolutely no one to talk football with in general. So I just kind of wanted an outlet. That was kind of the reason that started the channel, and the reason also was COVID, makes you bored. But I started following Dortmund years and years ago when I was playing FIFA. Like I said, there's not an outlet. I had no parental guidance or friends guidance on this. So I was playing FIFA. My background is German as well. As Kurt just told me his was too, but my background was German, so naturally when you pick a career mode, you have to select a team. I thought Dortmund's logo. Yeah, I thought Dortmund's logo was pretty cool. So that's literally as a fluke how I found the club, and started the channel. Now we're also the official international Twitch streamers for Borussia Dortmund's Twitch as well, which is pretty cool. Awesome. So yeah, we've had a huge response, I guess, when we started this channel, and I'm excited to come on here. And didn't get to talk football at all, and now I just do it just about every day. So I'm very excited to be here with you.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Obviously, being Northern America, I've always had a lot of ties to Germany. In terms of Germany, I've always been sending over coaches for years there, just youth levels, players going over there and playing in Germany. And obviously, Canada has quite a lot of an immigrant population. So you guys, even though it's not necessarily a big footballing country, there is, from what I know, is quite a decent following of football. Maybe not the MLS so much, but as a worldwide sport, they're pretty. And to be fair, Canada's team's got quite a few young players that are coming through that are looking better. So it's looking up, and I think the sport's taking off a little bit in North America. And I think obviously, a couple more international competitions, a couple of those teams on that side of the globe doing well will only bring more success. But that's awesome that you got involved with Dortmund and are a part of the streaming network with them. That's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it's been a bit of a weird season for Dortmund this year. You guys not normally perennial top four guys up there with Leipzig and Munich. You've had quite a lot of change over the last sort of 2 or 3 years in terms of your transfers. You brought a lot of guys in, good guys, young guys, Brandt, Chan, obviously Haaland a couple of years ago. This season, bringing in Bellingham, a few other players that obviously haven't mentioned, but you sort of doing what you always do, keeping that core fresh, and when players are going out, obviously recycling them back in. What's really been the cause of having a really difficult season this year? Does it have anything to do with the manager departing, or is it just a case of bad luck and injuries in this COVID year that's all been crazy for everybody?
I mean, it's a great question. It's kind of a hard one to kind of put your finger on because Lucien Favre has had some great seasons here at Dortmund, almost winning the league his first season. Kind of overachieved in my opinion because no one really thought we were going to go on a title race. Next season was pretty standard, and by the third season, it just kind of seemed like he ran out of ideas. He was a pretty stubborn manager, so he doesn't like really switching up his tactics. He switched over to the season last year during COVID to a 3-4-3. We sold Hakimi, which was a huge outlet to that formation being successful. Brought in Meunier, who's honestly not had a very strong season to say the least. And the tactics just they weren't working. The players were not on form. Some of the new signings took a little bit of time to get in, and the results just started piling up until we got hammered 5-1 at home against Stuttgart. And yeah, that was it for Lucien Favre. And Terzic came in, didn't really get that bounce back that you kind of want. He's done okay to steady the ship, but there's a pretty real possibility we may miss out on top four, which is ridiculous for a club like Borussia Dortmund. But we're here in the Champions League, and we'll, I guess, see what the rest of the season brings.
Yeah, well, it's in Germany. We know every year that fourth spot can get really spicy with obviously teams every year sort of having a thing. Obviously, Frankfurt had their season out of it with a lot of problems up front. Obviously, they've figured out their stock and they seem to be back on the thing. And I believe you guys are 7 points off top four, so it's still going to be a bit of a difficult thing. But there's every possibility you can make that mark up. But going into quickly just your thoughts on Marco Reus, because obviously we played him in the last round. Gladbach, he's going to be your manager next season, I believe. And so, any just a quick thoughts on Marco Reus and excitement or apprehension of his appointment?
Well, I'm pretty excited about it because like a lot of people were kind of tentative, I guess. I mean, I'm not really sure like what the thoughts were because I heard a lot of people saying that they were excited, a lot of people saying that they weren't. They kind of wanted to go for a manager like Pochettino, Allegri. But it's a common thing with German football, but especially for Borussia Dortmund, is targeting a manager who speaks German. So when Fabre was sacked, they looked at their options and knew that they could potentially go after Jesse Marsch was rumored, Marco Rosa was rumored, and they decided to go for Rosa, but unfortunately have to wait till the season was over. So I'm pretty excited, given the fact that he's young, he's German, he's done well at Salzburg, he's had a tough season.
That's where I first knew him, when it was time at Salzburg, and then obviously came to Gladbach and done exceptional. Had quite a gifted group of players. Obviously, they lost a few of their players. You guys getting Torgan Hazard, which I was very surprised to see them selling because I expected Gladbach to not want to sell to you guys, but that's the way it goes. But it seems like, I guess it's just one of those. It's a wait and see, but genuine optimism from most fans in regards to the appointment of Marco Reus.
Yeah. He, I mean, if there's one thing that, like him or hate him, the Red Bull organization does very well with developing players and managers. So that gives me a huge confidence. I know he's had a tough season with Gladbach. You can blame it on the fact that he took another job, run of form, but I think he's a good, talented young manager, and I think he'll be the perfect fit for the people that we were targeting. And I think I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, well, I said before we had the Gladbach game to a lot of the guys on here that it's a common thing in German football to announce that you're going to leave, stay out the rest of the season, and normally the players don't like down tools or any of this nonsense. They try their best to respect the decision of the manager going, leaving, on the manager coming in, and they usually put it up. So it was very strange to see Gladbach sort of demise a bit towards this season. So, but it's very strange. But moving on, just a quick thoughts on what you thought of the game. And obviously the first leg between us was a very interesting leg. Obviously the key talking point was the Jude Bellingham disallowed goal and the silliness from Rodri that we on our channel did not back at all, claiming a head injury when he got tapped on the knee. None of us like to see that. But what were your thoughts going about the first game overall, mate?
I was surprised. Like, I mean, and I said like the main reason, because a lot of people are saying we're gonna get pumped, like even like my viewers are saying like there's no way. If you've seen this City team play, and I have, and you guys have been stellar all season long. A little bit slow start, but I mean, you guys obviously picked up and are now comfortably in first place in the Premier League. But the thing I noticed is, especially at that game against Leicester, I mean, watching that game and you guys comfortably taking on a team like that scared the crap out of me. And I was thinking, like, if they play like that, they're gonna run us over because we haven't been in good form. There's a lot of moving pieces in this team right now, so there's no reason anyone should have thought we were the favorites. However, it's the Champions League. It's a wild tournament, and City have an issue with it, and you saw it in the game. I thought Dortmund arguably should have got a result, and I mean a 2-1 result away against City is still a decent result. But I felt like you said, some of the talking points, something that could maybe went our way. It could have easily walked out with a 1-1, 2-2 draw, and that would have probably put Dortmund in a little more comfortable position. But the tie's wide open, and if the boys can kind of replicate that type of performance, and City are maybe still a little bit nervous about that quarterfinal curse, then there's always a chance.
Yeah, for me, I said because we did the watch along, I was on it, and I said on the balance of play, given all the chances that we missed, the good chances that we missed, I think a 2-1 for us was probably a fair result. But obviously, we were very unlucky to have that goal disallowed. But a lot of the City fans and a lot of the guys on our channel at the time were really concerned about keeping a clean sheet, because obviously away goals has been a big problem for us. So I think you guys getting that late goal and then us able to get that extra goal and keep that 1-goal lead was vital going into the game. And obviously we saw Foden that game had missed quite a couple of decent chances that you'd expect him to bury, and then just kept going and managed to get his goal, which obviously put a lot of us in relief, because as you said, going into the second leg 1-1 is a completely different affair than going into the game 2-1. I just don't know what I'm going to expect with Pep, because normally we see Pep do something silly, but the first leg, for the most part, I think a lot of City fans, you can never really predict a Pep lineup, but most of them were happy and kind of expected most of those moving parts to be in there. So it's going to be really interesting going into the second leg. But moving into the second leg, I would just like to get your thoughts on how you line up, because obviously you like you said, your manager's quite rigid in his formation choice. So I don't expect anything other than the 4-2-3-1. But is there you think there's going to be major personnel changes from the first leg moving on to the second leg before we, or do you think it's going to be very similar? Maybe just one or two.
It'll be similar. The two formations that Terzic plays is usually a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-2-1, which with the two attacking midfielders just kind of tucked in under Holland.
Insides. Yeah.
When we play a team that we have a lot of possession, that's where we usually see the 4-2-3-1. Just put a little extra body because we know we're gonna have the ball. With the game coming up, I'm 95% sure we're going to play in the 4-3-2-1. So we'll have that three-man midfield. It'll probably be Delaney, Dahoud, and Bellingham. I think they're our best midfield that we put together. I know Chan keeps kind of poking his head in here and there, but he's been kind of used as a center back, as a right back, left back. He's been pretty much everywhere. But I think our main midfield three is going to be those three, with probably up front. You could take your pick at the one. Ansgar Knopf had a huge goal at the weekend. He's been positive. He had the surprise start against you guys.
Yeah.
He could very well get the start, especially after that goal. Could be Hazard. He'd definitely be partnered alongside Royce, who now scored him back-to-back, and of course our man Holland up front. And then we have the same usual back line. It'll probably be either Chan or Marai at right back, Akanji, Hummels at the typical center back, Guerrero left back, and Hitz will be in net. So that's probably how we'll look up, because I can't see us going with the two-man midfield. The City team would run us over.
You're just going to you expect them to stick the extra man in there, because I thought that your original lineup was quite interesting. Some of the personnel choices was interesting to me. Obviously, Gnaf coming in, I'd never seen him play. Obviously, I think he'd only played like 50 minutes all season before then in the top league anyway. Obviously, he's come through. Like, that's just a hallmark of a Dortmund side, is bringing through talent. So I thought he didn't have a most amazing game, but for a guy coming in an important tie like that, I thought he had that sort of surprise factor, right? And I sort of didn't know what to make of him, but I thought he had a decent game. But I think what was interesting for me is I don't honestly know how Chan was in there. I thought that was the one thing that really surprised me, because I think he's a good option to have, but I think you've got a lot better options there. Dahoud and Delaney for me are exceptionally better than him. He's a lot less mobile. And those guys, I think, are just a bit more solid and dependable for 90 minutes in terms of the whole fixture. In terms of us going forward, I think it'll be the same as you always. I think we'll be very similar, maybe one or two changes, but I think the system that we deployed will be very similar to the system that we deploy on Wednesday. But I could be completely wrong, because getting anything Pep wants to do right is hard. But you got to expect, with the changes we made on the weekend and the players rested, that it's going to be by very very similar sort of thing. But let's just get into a few of the comments and see what some of the guys are thinking before we move on in the preview, and see what some of the guys are saying. We got 767 Cassie saying, "Love your content, Josh." Oh. So I'm sure he does that. We've got MCFC Linny saying, "If we play our own game like we did versus Gladbach, we should beat anyone." I think that's the biggest problem for us, is we get in our own heads a little bit sometimes in these fixtures, Linny, and we sort of cause our own problems in a way, get a little bit tentative and whatnot. Sean's saying, "It's going to be strange seeing a yellow wall without fans." Yeah, it's not nice to see. it's not nice to see any teams without fans, but the German fans are great. Like every club, all the way down the divisions, they're probably the most similar to English fans. Obviously, they have things in their stadium that allow the atmosphere to be a bit better. Obviously, with being drinking, safe standing, things of that nature. But might be getting some safe standing, so we will see in the future for that one. Hopefully, that can help. And obviously, having a whole side dedicated to just your fan base instead of having your away fans stuck in the same end as your main fans doesn't help us, but you know how it goes. Charlie's saying Dortmund played to win and gave us a great game. They definitely did give us a great game, and Bellingham looks like an absolute class talent. I know a lot of the English media a lot of the English fans were laughing because of what Birmingham did when obviously you bought him with all that. So everyone thought it was kind of a joke, but he's proven everyone wrong, and he's got exceptional talent, and he might be getting a berth at the Euros. So yeah. We'll see. He looks really good. I don't know what your thoughts are on just Bellingham's development since he's come in. If you just want to quickly let us know, because obviously you see him week in, week out.
Surprising and fantastic. I honestly I say this a few times. Like I was like, that's what Dortmund do. They go out and they buy young players, they develop them, and then sometimes sell them off for profit. But with Jude, because of his age, I feel like he'd be here for a few seasons, but I didn't really want him to break in for like right away. And it was only because he's young. I don't know. I just felt coming from the championship to the Bundesliga, maybe just, let him gradually.
Too much too quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Let him gradually move in. But no, he shut me right up. They tossed him in a few situations where he played some outstanding football. And now he's, like I said, he's blossomed. And I think the best part that Marco Rose can take from this team right now is that three-man midfield with Dahoud and Bellingham playing a little further up the pitch and Delaney sitting in front of the back four. Because
that's what I've been noticing. Obviously, I've probably watched about 10 or 15 Bundesliga games of Dortmund this season. And what I noticed when I've seen Bellingham play, that I always thought of him more as like a standard ball-playing defensive midfielder who win the ball, progress the ball quite well. But he actually plays a lot higher up the pitch than I first anticipated. And it's really surprising me. He seems a lot more like a box-to-box if he's playing in a 2, or the free man if he's playing in a 3. So he seems to have quite a decent tactical understanding. Obviously, playing in Germany, that's only going to elevate and increase with time, because obviously the coaching and the way everyone plays is just exceptional. Everyone's trying to improve their talent. It's just a core concept of the Bundesliga. And I think it's only going to be really interesting to see his rise, because his stature for his age is quite surprising. He's quite built out. Obviously, when we saw Foden go up to Haaland at the end of the game, that really gives the contrast of the size difference. So Foden's got a bit of work to go in that area, but looking from the English perspective, Jude looks like a talent, and I'm really excited to see. To see what he can do.
His pressing game is fantastic. He's got an engine that just doesn't stop, and he's got a very good football IQ, which is another thing that I think is just going to keep getting better and better the more minutes he plays at this kind of level. So he's one for the future, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Sean Foggett is saying both teams rested players. I assume you mean rested game players for the game in Dortmund on Saturday, and us as well. It's big. Of course, it's big. Champions League knockout tie. You got a rec play. You guys got through. It was a bit of a nervy 1-2-3. I didn't watch the game, just watched the highlights. But well taken goals and nice fight, really, because it's always a thing with when you get into the latter stages of competitions. You want the guys around the squad that aren't necessarily in the first team when they come in to do the job. And we saw that our guys who came in didn't do the job on the weekend, and your boys did. So I'm sure you're very happy with your weekend result.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really rest too many players, which is like, you guys put yourselves in a huge kudos to put yourself in a comfortable position where, yes, you guys didn't get the result, but you guys can probably all agree you're still pretty comfortable at the top of the table, where we're fighting for our lives for a top 4 spot. Exactly. So we didn't really rest apart really anybody. Like, I thought that was a pretty strong lineup we put up. Emre Can got rested, but I argue that he might not even be in the starting 11. I mean, Knopf, but again, if Ansgaard, he's not one who is playing consistently, but they had to go out. They can't afford not to play Holland, for example, for Royce, because we barely won.
We needed those 3 points.
Yeah, we barely won 3-2, and if we didn't have Holland started, I can promise you we would not have got those points.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Obviously, I think that obviously gives us the step up from you guys. Obviously, we're such an exceptionally blessed squad. A rested side from Manchester City isn't like a rested side from any other team. We've got such exceptional balance around our squad, which allows us to get into these positions. I know a lot of the guys were gutted with the weekend's result, but it's one of those. It's not like we played badly. It's just we created a lot of chances, didn't take our chances, and then the other team went up the other end and stuck a few away. So it's one of those. Linny saying we rested 7 exactly. So it's a lot. That's a lot of players to be able to rest. So we're in a very fortunate position moving into the next leg. Charlie saying, hopefully we can get an update on Tuesday by Pep about Laporte and Aguero's injuries. Yeah, I'm obviously waiting for that presser till we know 100%. So my lineup's a bit one or two of those might be a bit different depending on what the presser says. So, but obviously we've got time to do it tonight. So we go on with what the information we got, and as we always do, because we've got the benefit of time, we can just say, oh, and we'll change our minds later, you know. As long as the game hasn't kicked off, we can still change our predicted. That's the good one. But
that's fair.
But moving on to how do you expect you guys to play similarly in terms of your style? Because obviously you're 2-1 down. You've got the away goal. Do you expect it to be quite a relaxed start in terms of your performance, or do you think you guys are going to try and hit us early and try and get that goal back as early as possible? Because that's one thing I'm interested to know.
And it's hard because it's hard to kind of judge it just because like didn't know really what to expect in the first leg, and I said that all I want them to do is play like they have nothing to lose, because in my opinion going into that match Dortmund had nothing to lose. The pressure wasn't on them. No one expected them to go into City and get a result, and a 2-1, I mean, it's decent for City, but it's also decent for Dortmund because that's a result that's tricky going into the second leg. So I want them to go in there again with nothing to lose, and I think they will. I think they'll obviously sit back a little bit because City naturally will have more of the ball, but I think they're going to be looking to break every single time they can, and that's why I think Ansgar Knopf is probably my pick. He's out of the wingers, he's the most pacey. So if you're going to put him up there, if you're going to put him beside Royce is still a fantastic player, but he's lost a little bit of speed due to injuries and age. Hazard is quick, but Knopf is he's got that extra step on him. He's a little bit more known for speed, and yes, he's inexperienced, but I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to soak up pressure, and they're going to rely on the speed of Holland, Knopf up front, the creativity of Royce, and I think they're going to try to nick a goal quick.
Yeah, because obviously it only makes sense you play to your strengths. Your strengths are you've got solid ball winners, and you've got exceptional talent up front that can put away chances at the drop of a hat. So, but I'm really unsure about how City are going to try and attack the game, because obviously press too hard too early, lose that goal early, the tire changes. So I expect the 45 minutes to be a bit of a chess game between the managers, probably expecting quite a few tactical changes in game, which is Pep obviously learnt that when he was at Munich. That's probably what he learnt most in all of his time in any clubs was the ability to change what you're doing without having to change personnel in terms of a substitution. And Nagelsmann's probably the guy that everyone knows about these days. The guy makes about 7 formation changes a game, and he's not even changed the player. I don't know how anyone can keep up with it. I don't know how he even knows what he's keeping up with. But so I think, as I said, I think the first 45 is going to be a bit of a nervy one. If there's a bit of a wayward goal either way, the first goal is really going to change this tie. So I don't know what they expect the game's going to be, but the only thing I am expecting, as I said, a bit of a nervy 45, and hopefully we can be a bit better with the ball in the first 10 minutes and not be as loose, because you want to get into your stride as quick as possible in these games and get a bit of comfort. But moving on before we go on to the expected lineups, is there any particular questions you've got for me in regards to City before we go on to that sort of stuff, or anything you'd like to ask?
I mean, I think it's an important thing. When I was going through the game and saying, and everyone's like, Josh, you're crazy if you think that Dortmund have a chance. And I was like, they have a chance for a couple of specific reasons. And it's the fact that this competition is wild. And if you look at some of the past results that City's had against Monaco, Tottenham, Liverpool, and Lyon, I honestly think that they were the favorites in just about every one of those ties, if not all those ties. How does the mentality feel for you going into this? Do you think that in the back of your mind it's there for the taking for Dortmund, or do you think that this team's finally ready to make that step and go on for a deeper run?
Well, for me, I think it's really difficult, because I said to the guys when I was talking to them after the Leeds game, I said, for me, this is probably the first time as a fan I've got to this part of the season with so much at stake. For me, I've never had it. Normally, we're just focusing on the league, and what happens in the Champions League happens. But obviously, we have a real chance to do something exceptional this season. But at the same time, we play you guys. Then on Saturday, we play Chelsea in a semi-final of the FA Cup. Then we play a league game a couple of days later. Then 4 days later, we play a cup final. Yeah. And then 4 days after that, if we get through Dortmund, we'll be in a semi-final. So I said to the boys, it can go real bad real quick. or real good real quick. It's football, and at this I've never experienced it as a City fan before. Yeah, we've been there or thereabouts under Pellegrini when we were at Real Madrid, but no City fan expected us to beat Real Madrid. I think we had like one shot on goal over the 2 legs. We were going nowhere. We were lucky to even get to that semis. So for me, I'm just sit back and relax and just enjoying the experience, really, mate, because in a week's time we could be out of 2 different competitions and potentially on the brink of being out of another and losing a cup final. So I've seen it go good and I've seen it go very bad at City. So I'm just sit back and I'll take whatever happens, and hopefully the boys can do the business on the night. But it's just a crazy situation to be in. I don't think as fans you ever expect to be in a position where you can win every competition that you enter into, and to have that as a realistic option is crazy. Hopefully Pep can keep them on the one game at a time train, keep focused, and all that really matters is the Dortmund game, because Chelsea doesn't exist until the Dortmund game final whistle calls. That's the way I view it. So don't try and think too far ahead. Focus on the one game, and I'm excited. It could go either way, mate. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I wouldn't be surprised if we won this game 3-1 and it looked relatively comfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if we went out 3-1 the other way, where we just get caught on the counter, pressing too high up the pitch, committing too many bodies, and it just not working out. So it's not really a good analysis, but it's just honestly the way I think it's good. I just don't know. It's so hard to predict with Manchester City, and then also the Pep ad rolling that into it. It's like just amplifies the randomness of what could happen. But I'm expecting a good game of football, if nothing else, because they're both good sides, and there's some good talent on display. So it should be interesting. But that leads us nicely into our expected lineups, and as you're joining us, I'll let you go first, and if you could just sort of give me what you expect and obviously how you expect to set up. I know you were saying before you think it's going to be the 4-3-2-1 with the inside forwards, I believe is what you said. So if you got the lineup for me, mate, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, and I'm pretty confident about this lineup. There's only 2 moving pieces and I'll give you the options. But like I said, they'll definitely be playing, in my opinion, the 4-3-2-1, just because they need that extra midfield. They never play against teams where the possession will be not in their favor. If they're playing against Bayern, they're playing against Gladbach, Leipzig, that's always at 4-3-2-1. So that's what they played against City last time. That's definitely what I'm feeling that they're going to be doing, and it's probably the smartest thing to do. In goal will be Hits. For those of you guys who do know, Berkey was our starting keeper. Didn't have a great season. He lost his position. So Hits is under.
Is it confirmed that Hits is now your starter, or is it still a bit of a flip flop between the two?
No, and I give Terzic credit. Like I've liked Berkey, but I liked him because I think he's got good personality. In the documentary, you can see that he's a very passionate keeper. But if you've watched him over the years, like I have, he's a little inconsistent at times. He gets lost in his positioning. He constantly gets beaten.
Does some silly things, yeah.
Yeah, and I was excited a little bit, and like I said, I like Berkey, but it was time for a change after a couple huge blunders. Plus, he got an injury, and during that time, Hits came in, and there's been no mention of Berkey ever getting back in. He's fully fit right now, and he hasn't touched the pitch since he played his last start where he had those blunders and picked up a knock. So yeah, he went all out and said till the end of the season, and probably Berkey will leave in the off season, but until then, Hits is the guy, and yeah, I think that's what you got to do if you're gonna make that decision. You can't,
you can't go knocking around with 2 keepers. No. We're going into the back end of the season. You need to. I think that's the right call. You just got to stick with one, and no matter what happens, say he's your man, and that's the way you got to go. So yeah, from the games I've seen him, I quite like him. He looks like a decent keeper. To be fair,
he's experienced. He was a starting keeper for Augsburg for years. He's a fine keeper. He's a decent mid-table keeper. So he's not going to be spectacular, but he's a veteran presence. He'll be able to shut things down. He did have a little blunder at the weekend though, not a good goal. So either way, hopefully he shakes that off. He'll be between the sticks. Right back, in my opinion, will probably be young Marai. And if it's not Marai, that's the only other option would be potentially seeing Emre Can there. But for me, it's going to be, I think it's going to be Marai, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's Can, just because Marai has been doing bits at that right back spot and kind of taking it into his own. It will not be Meunier. For any of you guys who might be excited that it could be, it will not be Meunier at right back. But I'm excited to see Marai keep developing his game. He's been a little spark after missing Hakimi for the majority of this season. But in the center backs, no surprise as well. It'll be Hummels, it'll be Akanji with Guerrero at left back. Then the three-man midfield, who has been my favorite. You could potentially see Emery Chan sneak in here, but I desperately hope not. I hope it's Delaney sitting just above the back four with, like we talked about, Dahoud and Jude, who I think will be very important in breaking up the play and hitting the front three, which I want to say Royce, Knopf, and Holland. Just the speed of Knopf, they gave him a shot. He did decent in the City game. I didn't think he was like spectacular or anything, but I thought he went in there to do a job. And then he did a little bit of magic on the weekend, so I think he may get that starting spot.
He had a bit of a free role from what I remember in the City game. He was moving laterally quite a lot, and obviously Royce's intelligence to cover the space was quite interesting. So it'll be interesting to see that play. He looks like a bit of a talent. Obviously, he's come through and looks to be a bit of a player, really, from what I saw. As of what I've gone, we'll see the next sort of year or so with his consistency. But just going to bring it on to a bit of a somber note here. One of our regulars, Man City fans, saying his nan's recently passed away, and obviously saying his day's a bit sadder. And I'm so sorry to hear that, mate. I saw obviously there's a lot of guys in the comments obviously saying rest in peace to your nan, mate. I'm very sorry for the loss, mate. It's a horrible time, and a lot of people are losing a lot of people around this time. So if you need anything, you know what the email is down below, mate. Get in touch if you need anything or just want to chat or whatnot. And hope you just stay safe, mate. And hopefully the results this week will be good ones for us, mate. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, mate, because I did see that, and I just want to let you know, mate. We're all thinking of you. As I said, if you need anything, you just let me know. But yeah, as I said, it's with Dortmund, it's by the by with a lot of the selections. You've got your guys who are the starting guys. You've got the guys that are around it, and then you've got the guys that are there just to fill numbers. So I think it's quite a strong lineup, and I think having Delaney, I think that was your biggest miss, as I said in the first leg. Having him in front and allowing Dahoud and Bellingham to be a bit more free in where they want to go and press the ball, and not have to worry too much about what's behind them is, I think, it's going to be a different test for our midfield, which I think you did really well in the midfield battle against us in the first leg. I was really surprised. I thought Kevin and De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva didn't play great in terms of their position in the first half, and it was a bit of a wild one, really. But moving into the City side of the lineup, this is like chucking darts and names and hoping something sticks, cards or whatever good reference you can think of. But obviously the only one that we know for sure is going to be Eddie in net. I'm pretty positive. The back four, I think, will be Walker, Diaz, Laporte and Zinchenko. If Laporte's fit, we will find out at the presser. I should expect him to be available for the game. So I think he'll partner Diaz to give us that left foot, because I think having a left-footed centre-back is quite actually important in the Champions League for me personally. And then moving to the midfield three, this was my hardest decision for me personally. I think he's going to go Rodri, Bernardo and Gundogan in the midfield. I just think if you have Gundogan and Rodri there, you need someone with him that's got a bit more legs and a little bit more mobility to be able to pick the ball up in transition and move it through, because I don't think that's necessarily Rodri's best strength. And then I think the front three, I think it's most likely going to be Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, and Mahrez, and just Kevin De Bruyne is going to get to do and go where he pleases, and hopefully create some magic for us and help us get through this tie. Because I'm definitely not thinking this is a banker. This is going to be a tough game of football. For me, I had Chelsea and Dortmund as the dark horses of the Champions League. They're the teams that people probably wanted to get drawn against, but when you actually do eventually get drawn against them, you're like, it's actually not as easy as a game as you necessarily think. It's one of those. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's like there's a lot of, because obviously I wanted to stay away from the obvious ones. You want to stay away from is Bayern Munich. I want to avoid them as long as we can. But obviously whoever gets through will be facing them or PSG. So yeah, but that's it. So just a recap for me, I went Eddie, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Zinchenko. Rodri, Bernardo and Gundo is the midfield, and then Foden, KDB and Mahrez up front. But when the boys in the chat start letting me know their lineups, you'll see that it's just absolutely be it could be absolutely anything, mate. It could be absolutely anything. But let's just see what some of the guys are saying before we get on to our predictions for the scoreline, mate. Kex is on. He's saying, I hope we finish with 11 men, dodgy refs in the Champions League. I think it's just the refereeing is just the standards different from UEFA to FA, right? And I know that they were talking about was it the Spanish referees were having problems in the way they were officiating from Spanish La Liga games to Champions League games. I believe I was reading an article about people saying about that. So it's not necessarily just an English to Champions League thing. It's just the domestic leagues to European football. I think there's just a few things that they let slide and do things a bit differently. So it's one of those, mate. I'm not moaning about dodgy refs. I'm not what do you call it? Conspiracy theorist FC. I don't think it's like that. Not for me anyway.
That's fair.
Dupe saying Laporte does not play well in Champions League quarterfinals. The redemption arc, the return of he let us down in that. He had these best season, was our best defender, and he had his worst game of the season against Tottenham. We go out real sad. It is what it is. Lenny's agreeing with me having Zinni in there. I love Zinchenko. What a guy, coming for a couple mil. Somehow managed to stick in a Pep team for years in a position that's not his own. Like, what a guy. And he's on like £30,000 a week, so he's on pennies, so absolute pennies. We've got one of our presenters on, Chris Baker on. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing well. Oh, now they've started to fly. And Kamal's given us his lineup. I'll just run that through you quickly. Kamal, he's gone Eddie Walker, Diaz, Stones, Zinchenko, Dino, Rodri, KDB, Foden, Mahrez, and Bernardo. So he stuck Fernandinho in there. I very much doubt Fernandinho is going to play 2 games in a week, but I wouldn't be upset if it was Rodri and Fernandinho in there, mate. That's some good protection right there. Kex is there. We will see after the game, mate. I could be holding my head in shame or celebrating like a madman. That's like the Champions League in a nutshell, isn't it? No, nothing will ever come close to that Spurs goal. I celebrated like a madman, only to just fall to my knees like Pep and tears dripping down my eyes. It was a very, very sad night, but great game of footy. Let's be real. That was a great game of footy. Mental. First 20 minutes, they score a goal, we score a goal, they score a goal, we score a goal. Mental. Lenny's gone with Eddie, Walker, Stones, Diaz, Zinni, Dino, Foden, Bernardo, Gundo, KDB, and Morris. So you can sort of see a theme with quite a few of the players in there. Oh, Charlie, I'll go find yours, mate. Just as you said, it better not be too high up. I don't want to be scrolling forever. I can't. Oh, there it is. Only for you, Charlie, because you asked nicely, mate. You said Walker, Eddie, Eddie, Walker, Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundo, Bernardo, Foden, KDB, Morris. So a lot of you guys are going very similar with just one or two. A couple of you swapping out the midfielders, and a couple of you guys changing up who you think is going to be at the false 9. But a lot of you guys are going with the false 9 in there. So that's quite interesting to see. And then obviously moving on to score prediction before we wrap up tonight. Hardest thing to do, even harder when it's Champions League and you just never know what's going to happen. But what do you think the score might be tomorrow, Josh, mate?
Yeah, I don't like doing predictions, but I will do one. I definitely will. But predictions is always wild, and I do my prediction. We're like, remember the Stuttgart game where we lost 5-1? I was like, it should be an easy one, 3-0. Lost 5-1, felt like an idiot. But I don't know.
That's how they go, mate. They're only there so people can go, you got them wrong, and then you're like, well, what did you want from me, man? If I thought I knew the score, I put some money on it or something, you know?
Yeah, but something I want to touch on just with you a little bit, just before I give you my prediction, is because this is something that has been a running theme, and if any Dortmund fan or anyone who's followed Dortmund would know this, we've had issues when it came to strikers. Now, I'm not saying you guys have issues, but you have an injury pile up right for this season, but we usually only have one striker, and whether it would have been Paco, for example, a couple of seasons ago, or Holland, we really have no other alternative. And before, in the past, I want to say 5 to 10 years, if the striker was injured and or rested, you'd see Royce, you'd see Götze, you'd see Hazard, you'd see
false 9 basically.
Exactly, you'd see attacking midfielders or wingers playing as a false 9, and it bit us in the butt so many times because we just weren't able to take those finishes that you're used to. Aubameyang, Lewandowski, Holland.
You guys have had some illustrious strikers over the last 10 years. You guys are very blessed in that department.
We have, but when they don't play, I always find that the team looks completely different. And I remember seeing before we did our last preview, talking to some other youth City fans on the channel, on Twitter, they were saying how excited they were to see KDB in a center forward role. And when I looked at it, and again, I don't watch City play each and every week. I know how good they are, and I know that they could probably get away without playing a striker. But in a competition like this, where goals are so important, and you saw, in my opinion, like a good City performance against us, but you saw with Foden a lot of missed chances. Does it concern you at all not having your main striker, not having an Aguero in that, or does it not faze you having KDB?
Aguero scored like one goal in like a year, and it's just not been about. So we've obviously we have Gabby, but Gabby can play in multiple positions. He plays wide a lot of the time for his national team if Neymar's not fit, and obviously he can play up front. But even when he's playing centre forward, he is that Bobby Firmino-esque player who's going to drop in, try and win the ball, maybe run into the channels and stuff. And we've just seen with our success this season's been with one of our fullbacks playing inside and having the false nine dropping in and allowing wide players like Sterling or Mahrez to come inside and just occupy the space when they haven't been there. And I know when it first started, a lot of people were just like, oh, we need to get a striker. We can't be doing this false nine. But you can't, when we've had the success we've had this season with that system, you got to back it. That's kind of the way it is. And with the Kevin De Bruyne playing the false nine, for me, I said months ago on the channel, I like Kevin De Bruyne deeper because he gets to dictate play more. But the evidence has shown playing Kevin De Bruyne closer to the goal is better. Just whether I like seeing him, maybe it's just because when you're playing deeper, you're on the ball more. There's a lot more options to have. But the reality is, he's just an exceptional talent, and him being as the false nine with the way we play with the 4-3-3, he'll just drop into the half space. The wide midfielder will take up the berth as the wing position, and the winger will just come inside. And you might see Sterling for like 5 or so minutes at centre forward, and Foden in midfield, and then De Bruyne in the wide berth, and then even maybe Mahrez comes in. We've just got such tactical flexibility with the options we have in our team that the idea of like a false nine is just someone's going to be in that space, drawing defenders out and causing problems. But you've got one exceptional centre back in Hummels who's going to do a great job, Marshall, and then it's down to us to create chances and put them away. But I think with the players we normally have our wide players scoring lots of goals, so I'm not too worried. We'd love. That doesn't mean to say we don't want a striker in the summer as City fans, but they've been banging in the goals. But I think it's interesting. I told the guys last week our highest scorer in the Champions League is Ferran Torres with 4 goals. It's not a lot. It's one of those. So I think our success this season has mainly been built off solid defenses and not conceding a lot of chances and getting that side of it sewn up more so than scoring 6s and 7s like we've done in seasons gone by. So I'm not particularly worried. It's just, I know what you mean though.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally
frustrating. It's frustrating when you have the false nine there and he's not putting away the chances. And in your heart of hearts, if that was a proper centre forward, they would have put them away. And it's frustrating. And it's a lot of the frustration with our wide players, with Mahrez, Raheem and Foden at times when they miss these options, because you're just thinking they're important. You know as well as I do, mate. You've got to stick those chances away. But I'm confident, and what I always say is I trust Pep and I trust the board. Where when you have success over years and years, you've got to trust in what they've done, because it hasn't been proven any wrong for me. So, yeah, I'd love to get a striker in the summer. I'm not particularly worried about the false nine at the moment. And I think whoever does it, whether it's Bernardo or Kevin or Foden or Raheem or whoever gets put there, they'll do the job. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, and it's all. I mean, I have a poor memory about it because, like you said, when you guys do have to play with the false nine, you put away your chances. You still pick up the points. Experience wasn't the same for me watching that 18-19 season where we almost won, and then seeing Mario Götze continuously playing as a false nine because Paco was injured broke my heart. And then after seeing Holland not start and whoever it is up there, so that's why it was just frustrating. So I was just curious what it's like on the other side, but. On the other side, you guys are picking up points, so I guess it doesn't bug you as much as it would have bugged me.
The problem was, mate, we had a long period in our side where we were creating 25, 30 shots and maybe scoring 1 or 2 goals. Our conversion rate was very poor, and this was obviously which sparked the debate and people saying we need to get a clinical number 9, and if we haven't got Sergio, we need someone in. But Pep said in an interview, I think it was like 7 months ago, he said we need everyone to contribute. And if you look at our goal scorers, we haven't got anyone with particularly massive numbers. Gundogan's stepping up, playing higher up the pitch and getting closer to goals. And like you say, it literally just comes down to the guys creating the opportunities and taking away their chances. What we've seen recently is we've not needed 30 shots to get our 2 or 3 goals to win a game. We've been doing it with just 5 or 6 on target, and we score 2 or 3 of them, So it's just being clinical. And what let us down on the weekend was this exact thing. We had 29 shots, mate. We had 14 shots in the box and only like 4 on target. So it's just not good enough. You need to put the chances away when you get them. So it's one of those.
Yeah,
But
and yeah, that's what I was looking at when I looked at your starting 11 the first time. Was like, I know that a lot of City fans were excited about it, but I just put in the back of my mind, if they don't take these chances, which I guess you could say arguably you guys should have scored more than 2 goals. I mean,
we
Phil
should have,
Foden
yeah.
in himself. So that was kind of my point. So I mean, for the prediction, you can take it or leave it. I'm a Dortmund fan, and I got him. I
Yeah, of
can't
course,
pick.
mate. Of course,
I
we wouldn't
can't
have it
pick
any other way.
City. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be close, and the first leg I think proved to me that it was gonna be a closer matchup in general. So just for the sake of making it interesting, I'm gonna say 3-2 for Dortmund. They go through on away goals. No, they wouldn't. They would lose on away goals. That was stupid. No, I'll say. I don't think it's gonna be 1-0. That's the only way we go through on away goals. So I'll say 4-2 Dortmund then. There we go.
4-2
Okay,
Dortmund,
why
high
not?
scoring game, and
Yeah.
probably get a bit crazy early if that wants to go right. For me, I've gone with a really, really boring prediction of I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I don't see a way that you guys keep a clean sheet. We're both scoring, just a question of how many. As I said, I think the first half's going to be quite tight, and I think it will be a bit of a 2-1 situation. It'll be 1-1. Then you're going to obviously have to come out, and then when you start piling more bodies forward, we'll get that extra goal and seal at home. But I'm not going to be right. It's going to be something completely different because I'm never right, mate. And if I was right, I'd make a lot of money, but I don't make a lot of money. But we've had, just before we get you off, if you've got a little bit of time, there's a couple questions in the chat. Some of our guys have got. So if you've got a few minutes to answer that, I'll just go through them. Dupe's asking Josh, which team do you think? I know it's all going to be this sort of stuff, mate. So I'm sorry you're going to have to go through this, but he's asking which team do you think will sign Haaland after his agent's doing the European tour?
Yeah, the European. I mean, I've touched on it so many times on my channel, and I'm going to touch on it to the day.
It's going to be the way, mate.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends. I honestly do think if we can somehow, which I think I think we have about a 30-ish% chance of getting Champions League football. But if we're able to squeeze it through by winning the Champions League and/or getting top four, I think there's a pretty strong chance he will stay. If he doesn't, and he's made it clear how much the Champions League means to him, and he's scored 10 goals in the competition already, I think the teams will be licking their lips. There's been rumors about Barca. I think that their club's a bit of a mess right now. I don't think they can afford him, in my opinion. Madrid, again, he's been linked, but I mean, unfortunately, I think the favorites is City, man. If Pep's willing to go spend the money, either making a deal with him and sign him next year on the release clause, or put up that kind of money so it's not a fight for it. I think City's probably a natural fit. Like you said, you need number 9. I promise you're not going to find a better, younger one than Haaland is. And there's the links from his dad and the pictures you see.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, but it's going to be 10. It's all going to depend on how this club can finish up, and if his agent and his dad and himself put up a fight to leave. Because as a Dortmund fan, it's an ongoing situation with people pushing their way out of the clubs. They usually get their way.
Yeah, well, the thing with Dortmund is they realise that they're not going to keep him. They set a fair price, or what they deem a fair price, and they say pay it. And most of the time, most people do pay it. Mainly just questions about the Riola circus. Obviously, it's never nice to have this sort of stuff going on with players at your club. But I expect, obviously, you want to keep at least one of the two out of Sancho and Haaland. The worst thing would be to lose them both in the same summer, but. Yeah. I don't see it likely to lose both of them, mate, because I just don't think there's enough money about in the clubs for the prices that those guys are going to command to actually lose them both, mate. So I see probably most likely Haaland leaving and Sancho staying for me personally, but you never know with these things. But what are your thoughts just generally on the whole, like one of our presenters saying, just like the circus of it? Does it just bore you? Because I know for me, I hate transfer stuff. I've never really been a fan of it because I'm a football fan, not a financial fan and care about money. I just want to watch the football and I care about talking about the football. So for me, I kind of zone out with it. I don't know where you sort of lie on that one.
Well, if you're growing up as a Dortmund fan, man, you're indulged. It doesn't matter this season. There's always players in this club that just get transferred constantly. It's always a young, hot prospect or a fully finished product that go. And in the case of the two players you mentioned, and Sancho and Haaland, in my opinion, the two of the best young players you're going to find. They're worth the money that whoever's willing to pay it. I think it's a bad look for the club to sell them both, and I don't think the club wants to. It doesn't show that they're going to take a step in the right direction. I originally thought Haaland would stay 100% and Sancho would leave 100% before the circus. After the circus, I didn't like the look of it. I thought it was a bad look for Haaland's party there, showboating his son around Europe. It put a really bad taste in my mouth, and guess what? He's had some pretty poor performances following it. So is there a connection? I don't know, but I think if we get Champions League, I say Haaland stays, Sancho leaves, and if we get Europa League, I bet you Sancho. I think there's a chance that he could stay just because I know it's still Europa League, but maybe no one's willing to spend that kind of money, and Dortmund might put their foot down. They're not in a pressure to sell
Yeah, well,
at home.
you're in a far better contractual situation with Sancho, which is why I say I think he's going to stay, because you bumped him up in terms of his wages, so it's not like he's playing for peanuts on contracts that he should be deserving a better one. So that's the way I see it. But I completely agree with you, mate. I don't like it. It leaves a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouth. We all said on here, you can do this over the phone. You don't need to be taking planes in a COVID time flying around Europe. It's just disrespectful for everyone involved, really. It just doesn't look good on your son and the guy you're representing, but it's just one of those. But we've had a super chat in from Sir Alan himself, having his moan as always. I hope you've calmed down after the other game. He was in complete and utter meltdown, trying to call me when I was on a live stream just to have a rant. He was that upset, but he's just that way inclined. He's saying, drop Sterling. We're at the business end of the season. From now on, the best side in every game. The defense at the week. This was okay, mate. Okay, but I didn't have Sterling in my starting lineup, and from the starting lineups I read in a lot of guys' chats, Alan, not many people had Sterling starting, so you might get your wish, mate. But leave you to that one. Leave you to that one. But is there any other final thoughts you wanna say, or anything you want to talk about quickly before we end this here, mate?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. It was a good chat, and I think we both can agree that it's going to be a wild game one way or another. It's going to have goals. It's going to have entertainment. It's what we love. And I honestly don't know exactly which way it's going to go. And if City come up and actually have a City-type performance, I think it could be an easy-ish game for you guys. And if that mentality of the Champions League lingers around, it could be a little bit more interesting. But I had a good debate and a good talk with you, and I appreciate you having me on. And I wish you guys the best for tomorrow, and hopefully it's a good game.
Yeah, me too. I just want to say, obviously, a massive shout out for you for taking the time out to come and chat to us. Obviously, it's link for the YouTube channels down below in the description. Obviously, I just want to say congratulations again about obviously your affiliation with the Dortmund and the streaming stuff. That's awesome to hear. I'm sure you're really enjoying that. And so, but yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Obviously, if we catch you in the other rounds of in years to come by, I'm sure we'll get back in touch with you. But I just want to say from me and all the guys in chat, there's a lot of guys just saying thanks for you coming on and your opinions, because we love hearing opposition fans, especially. It's nice to hear, obviously, it's German clubs are getting an English-speaking Dortmund fan was absolutely fantastic. And I just, as I say, just want to echo what the guys in the chat are saying, and just thanks for your time. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. Awesome.
Yeah, you guys in the chat, fantastic. If you want to keep an eye on a German team, you're more than welcome to subscribe to our Red channel. But I definitely appreciate
or any of you Canadians in the chat want to get involved in the Canadian side of the content. I see also on his channel he does quite a bit about the Canadian stuff. So if you're any Canadians, I know Dupes, I know you're in Canada, buddy, so you might be interested in check it out, because I know a lot of people don't get into the international stuff, but I know a lot of other people do. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, he does content on all that sort of stuff as well. So get involved, go over and give his stuff a like, guys, even if it's not just to say hello and help out, support, and show some love. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. And I'm sure we'll get you on again at some other point, mate. But thanks for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Not a problem, man.
Anything else before we get off, mate?
No, I mean, if after the game, if you're willing to come over on my channel, we can continue this conversation.
We can definitely do that. We can have after the game, and we'll see if either of our predictions were remotely close, any of those lineups, or if we were talking both out of our backsides on this one, mate. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure I'll chat to you soon, mate. But thanks for coming on, mate.
Not a problem, man. I appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks very much, mate. Take care. Bye-bye. And that moves us into our second part of the thing. Because stick around with us, guys, because we're going to just do the player ratings for the Leeds game now, whilst I got you all on. I know it's not going to be probably the most enjoyable one. Wasn't a very enjoyable loss, where we didn't win, obviously. Before we go and start doing our player ratings for tonight, I just wanted to say that I had a little look at the stats and stuff like that and all those sorts of bits and bobs. And the most interesting stat I found, which I referenced a little bit earlier with Josh, was we had 14 shots inside their box. Only 3 of the shots were on target. We had 14 shots in their box and only 3 on target. It's woeful. Absolutely woeful in my opinion. I know it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Hopefully we can keep it all civil as always. I know there's probably going to be quite a few low scores for a few people in there. We'll try and keep it as nice as possible. I'll try and be as fair as I can. You know, I know sometimes I'm a bit of a give them a high score even if they've had a bit of a bad game, but I'll try and be as fair as I can. And instead of doing Simon Pajowski's stuff tonight, guys, Andy couldn't make it to do it with us live, join us on the live. So he's done in the community chat. He's given us his scores. So instead of reading out Simon Bajowski's scores while you guys are loading up your scores, I'm going to read out Andy's ones tonight. So it'll be a little bit different. Hopefully you'll enjoy it and listening to Andy's take on each player. But before we do that, I'm just going to go over the community poll chat for man of the match, and let's just see who won that. Get that out of the way early before I get everyone saying man of the matches as we're doing the player ratings. So it came out, guys, with 261 votes last time I refreshed, and the winning guy was Mr. Stones with 65% of the vote. In second place was Fernandinho with 15%. Zinchenko and Torres right behind him with 8%, and Bernardo on 4%. So quite a large margin for the boy Stonesy, and I probably would agree with that one. That's who I voted for on the stream. So it's one of those. But yeah, I don't know if you guys in the chat, if you didn't get your poll vote in for man of the matches, just stick them in now and I'll get to reading them. Dupes, right, mate. It's going to be some low scores, mate, but some of them are going to deserve a bit of a low score, to be fair. He is a negative sod, isn't he, mate? But he's all right. We don't mind him. Yeah, I agree with you, Alec, mate. I thought only Stones and Zinchenko played well. Alan's smacking us with another super chat. Thank you very much, mate. He says, Kurt, our fullbacks were awful. They weren't great. It wasn't a great display from our fullbacks. Wasn't good, was it, mate? No. But it is what it is, man. You can have bad games. It's just one of those, really. Yeah, it's probably didn't he? I'm not, as I said, I'm not doing to him tonight because I've got Andy's. Andy's not able to join us on the live, so I'm going to do Andy's and just do it a little bit different tonight. Hope you guys don't mind. I'm sure if you want to check out what Simon Bajowski thought, you can head over to the MEN online and check out what he thinks. But yeah, yep, Kex. Gabby didn't have a shot on target. You're right. It was really poor. 14 shots in the box. 3 on targets. Just not good enough, is it? Barnsley, Beckenbauer, yeah. Stones did work hard, didn't he, Linney? Yeah, I thought we had a good game. I thought, yeah, he maybe could have done a little bit better for the second goal, but I'm not really putting fault at him. Yeah, but right, what we'll do is we'll start at the bottom, as we always do, starting with the main man, Steady Eddie, as Martin likes to call him, Edison, who I thought had a pretty okay game. He obviously made that one really nice save that kept us in it at that time. The 2 goals, I think the first goal was just a quality strike. I don't know if he could be a little bit better. And the second one, I'm not holding too much responsibility on him, but I think he could have done a little bit better. I'm going to go with a 6.5 for Eddie because I don't want to take away. He had nothing to do for most of that game, came out and made an exceptional save. So, yeah, I gave him a 6.5. So let's just see what Andy says while some of your comments are coming in. Edison, 7 for Andy. And he said, would have been an 8 for his tackle on Rafinha, but may have done better for the second goal. Yeah, I think I'm in a bit of agreement with Andy in terms of the second goal. I think he could have done a little bit second, but the first goal was, I don't think you're doing much about that one as a class strike. We had a super chat from Leg End Sweet, so I'll just read that one out before we go into your guys' scores for Edison. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. It's really much appreciated, as always. And he said, Ferran Torres, Zinchenko, Stones, and Edison played well. Everyone else was shocking. Yeah, I agree with a couple of them. Disagree with one of them, but we'll get to that man when we do his score. But thanks very much for the super chat, as always, mate. I really do appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone else does. So let me just scroll back up to see where we started. And we've got Charlie starting us off with a 6. Chris is agreeing with me in a 6.5. Kex has gone with a solid 6. Hamza's gone with a 6. Linney's gone with a 7. SOS with a 6. Kamal's joining me and Chris with a 6.5. Sean's gone with a 6. Had nothing to do apart from 1, so I'm picking the ball out the back of the net. Yeah, it was one of those, wasn't it? 6.5 from Simon, so he's with me, Chris, and a couple of the others. Neil's gone with 7. Bad luck for their goals. Yeah, I think the first goal we can't really do much about. It was a good strike inside the post, bounced on the other one. Alex gone with a solid 7 for Eddie. Eddie Brownhill's gone with a 6.5. Alan's gone with a 7 for Eddie. Eddie's gone, I think that's a 6.1 from Dupes there. Yeah, 6.1 from Dupes. What was it? Hamza went from a 6.5. 7, yeah, from David. 7 for Eddie from Kieran. Yusuf's giving us a 6 for Eddie. David doesn't agree with a lot of you guys and's going to give him a 4. Braden's gone with a 6, and Addy's gone with Eddie pains me to say a 6. Yeah, I know the 10. You can't really be given a 10 for that one tonight, I'm afraid, mate. Is that Reno or Rhino? I'm not really sure. Rhino, I assume. 6 for Eddie. So a lot of 6s, a few 6.5s, a couple 7s, that 1 4. So I think anything other than a 6 for Eddie seems not right for this one. So we'll go with a solid 6 from your guys' scores for Edison, which I said I had him 0.5 higher, but it's not about me. It's about your aggregated scores, and that's what we're going with. So that moves us nicely onto left back, which is obviously Mendy last night. So if you guys can get your scores in for Mendy, I will just give you mine, and then I'll read out Andy's, and then we'll get into yours. For Mendy, I went with a 5.5. I think he should have done better with the opportunity he had in the box. He should have got at least it on target, if nothing else. Probably should be scoring there. Some bit of a woeful defending, if you ask me. Not really a calm performance. Looked a little bit like he didn't know what he was supposed to do in the team. I don't know if that's me not understanding what he was supposed to be doing, or just him not knowing what he was supposed to be doing. But yeah, I went with a 5.5. Couldn't really feel myself. Couldn't give him with any higher with any good faith, if I'm being honest. And let's see what Andy had to say about Mendy. He went with a 5 for Mendy. Anonymous for most of the game. Not sure he'll be here after the summer. Yeah, I'm not too sure either myself, Andy, with that one. But Andy gave Mendy a 5. So let's get into your scores. Man City fans kicking us off with a 4. And as I said, rest in peace for your loss, mate. If you need anything, the emails in the description, just get in touch, mate. We're here if you need us, mate. Hamza's gone with a 5, linear 5. Alan's gone with a 1, awful, he says. 6, everyone had a 6 game average. 3.5 from Chris, dreadful. A lot better, Chris. I think David's a bit more in line with the scores now for this guy. Braden's gone with a 5.5. Mendy 4, honestly, extremely poor. Alec Johnson's gone with a 3. Dukes 5.1. What was he doing in the game? 6.5 from Neil. He said he didn't do too much wrong. SOS has went with a 4. Sean went with a 6. Crossing wasn't too great, but he was just average. Alan's gone 1.5. Kieran 5.5. David's gone with a 4.5. United FC went with 6 good crosses, unlucky performance. Eddie Brownhill gave him a 5. Alec Johnson's saying we should get rid. Hamza's saying, imagine if he didn't do his ACL. Yeah, imagine he would have been a different player. And Martin's joining us, mate. I know I saw you earlier, mate. Sorry I couldn't get to your comments. I just didn't. I wanted to get through all the stuff with Josh whilst we had him on. But he's given Mendy a 4.5. So let me just have a little wee back because there's a bit of a jump from there. A few 6s, couple 6.5s, quite a few 4s and 3.5s and that sort of nature. So I think drawing it down to a 5. Kamal's just finishing us off with the last one for Mendy. He said 5 wasn't as bad, scapegoated a little bit. I think there was a lot of subpar performances, but it wasn't as atrocious as some people would like to let you think, if I'm being honest, Kamal. But I didn't think he had a great game. And by the aggregated scores there, I'm going to have to go with, I think, a 5, guys, because there was quite a few 5.5s, a few 4s, a few 3.5s. I'll tell you what, I'll be a bit harsher. Maybe I'll be a bit harsher on the night, and I'll give him a 4.5. There was a bit of a really mixed bag with the scores for Mendy there, but yeah, that leads us on to the other fullback for the night, which was Cancelo. Tom's boy Cancelo. Oh, I thought had a really, really poor game. Just woeful, if I'm being honest. The things he was good at, he didn't do particularly well, and the things he was bad at, you saw why in that game. I think it's just the fullbacks had a really poor game. Really poor game for me, and I gave him a 5. I think he was worse than Mendy, if I'm being honest. Out of the two, I had him worse as a worse game than Mendy for me. But let's just see what Andy thought. Andy gave Cancelo a 5, so he's agreeing with me. Some of his crossing was awful, terrible defending twice for the first goal. Not a natural right back, in my opinion. Said it all along. So that's Andy's thoughts for the performance of Cancelo. And let's see what some of you guys thought for Cancelo, if I can find where I started. Hamza's kicking us off. It's gone with a 6. Kieran's gone with a 3. Braden's gone with a 5.5. Dupes has gone 5.1. SOS has gone with a 4. Alan's gone with a 3. David's gone with a 3. Cancelo 4. Poor going forward. At fault for the first goal. I completely agree with you, mate. 4.5. 4. Weak for the goal. Crossing was awful. Yeah, it's a bit of a trend here. Bad crossing. Should have done better for the first goal. Not a good day at the office for Cancelo. Eddie's gone with a 4. Couldn't drift into midfield that game as we played with a banned word on Man City Fan TV. Yeah. Can't defend. Yeah, it was poor defending on that first goal. It's not good at all. Sean's gone with a 5.5. Not much better than Mendy. I thought he was worse than Mendy. For me, Sean. Rena's gone with a 3. Really didn't really see him trash, to be honest. Yeah, it wasn't good. 5. He's had a poor month. Yeah, it's not just been one game. He's had a poor few games, and he's from what was pretty much a nailed-on starting berth, his starting position in the team is definitely up for question. That's for sure. Cancelo 5, two mistakes for the first goal alone. His purple patch is well and truly over. Yeah, he's definitely in some rough vein of form. That's for sure. Yeah, I know I need a new poster, but I like that. I like that one, mate. That was the badge when I started supporting the club, so that's why I keep it, mate. Obviously, I know it was 97, right? That it changed, so. Yeah, I like the old kit. I like the old one with the what's it called? Superbe Imperio. If that's how you pronounce it, probably terrible. Alan's shouting at the keyboard, so don't worry about him. We'll leave him to be shouting. Yeah, why does he behave like a kid? It must be the sun getting to him, mate. Maybe it's the sun getting to him. Simon's gone with a 5. I'm telling you what I think, and I am calm as he smashes into his keyboard loudly. What's that? What's the meme? As Dumbledore said quietly, yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Tyrone's joining us. Hello, mate. If you missed before, go back and watch. We did a preview with a Dortmund fan, Josh from JJDTV. He was a great bloke. We had a really long chat with him. He was nice enough to stay on a bit longer than he planned to and give us his time. So go check that out later on, mate. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Stop with the caps, Alan, mate. Turn it off, lad. I will take the caps off. Cheers. Now we know you're calm now, mate. Now we know you're calm. Okay, so oh dear. 6 from Tyrone. He definitely should have dealt with the ball better for the first goal. Yeah, Tyrone. That's what a lot of us were saying. Really should have done a lot better for the first goal and was not great going forward and had a really rough game. So I know we had a bit of a chin wag in the middle of there, but there was lots of 3s, decent amount of 5s, a couple 4s. So I'm gonna go with a 4 for Cancelo. I think this is the lowest rating I can remember anyway, for a player that have been aggregated score, right? So 4 for Cancelo, and that leads us on to who I thought was man of the match, and what a lot of you guys agreed with me in the community poll had Stones as our man of the match. So what did you guys make of Stones' performance? I gave Stones a 7. We still conceded 2 goals, so anything higher than a 7 doesn't feel right for me personally. I think he could have done maybe a little better for the second goal, but I think Fernandinho was actually at fault for the second goal. Not at fault, but could have done a lot better for the second goal. Yeah. He was men amongst boys in that defence. Absolutely. The only one with any sense of composure. Tried to drive forward and create chances, having the free man back there. It was, yeah. He tried his best to try and get us back into that game. Felt a bit bad for the bloke. He didn't deserve to lose that game on his performance. But yeah, before we get into that, I forgot. Let's get Andy's thoughts on what he thought of Stones. He agreed with me. He went with a 7 for Stones. Said looked very composed on the ball, moving it forward into midfield and around their box. Would have been an 8, but has to be 1 off for the team of their second goal. Yeah, exactly. Pretty much echoing what I'm saying there. But yeah, let's get into what your guys thought for the Stones. And we're kicking us off with Linny. He's gone with Stones an 8. Hamza 7.5. Chris has gone with a 7.5. Kamal's with me with a 7. Alan also 7. Eddie's joining the 7 club. Braden's gone with an 8.5 man of the match. Unbelievable game. Yeah, he had a great game. I don't know if he could have done a bit better at the second goal. I don't know what your guys' thoughts, but I thought Fernandinho was a bit at fault for the second goal, but it wasn't great all round. Too much space, far too much space. Simon's gone with a 7.5. David went 6.5. Sean went 8 man of the match. Reno's gone quality. I give him a 7 as well. Yeah, I think 7's a very fair score for him. I think he had a good game. That's for sure. One of the best player on a pitch in a City shirt. Stone 7.1 should have done better for the second goal. That's what I thought. Maybe he could have done better. Maybe Fernandinho could have done a bit better. What wasn't one of those, mate. It wasn't one of those, mate. The Stones has gone with a 9 for Neil Handstock. Literally ran rings around everyone. Yeah, he was a men amongst boys at times in that game. He was just looked really composed and calm, but he can't do it all alone. He's just a centre back at the end of the day. Charlie Everett's gone with a 6.5. Yeah, he could have taken Dallas out. He definitely could have, mate. 9.9 for Addy for Stones. Tyrone 8 kept pushing us up forward. Yeah, he was trying. You could tell he was trying so hard. And he was absolutely devastated that we conceded that second. Kieran's gone with a 7. Stones pretty much was our best attacker, at least our best midfielder in terms of progressing the ball. He's can't do it all on his own. This is a team game, and there's too many players that didn't have good games. One of those. Charlie Everett saying something that I thought was a bit weird as well was for their winner that we only had 2 men on the edge of our half. Yeah, it's just because how we were so desperate to try and get a winner, mate, that we just one of them's got to take him down and take him down early. It is what it is for me, but it's what it is. Yusuf's gone with a 6 for Stonesy. I completely agree. I said this on the thingy as soon as I came on. I said, for me, the only thing that I'll lobby at Pep that I really didn't agree with was sticking Ferner at centre-back. I said on the live, you have to bite the bullet and just stick Diaz on. You just have to bite the bullet. The likelihood is he's going to just be standing there knocking a couple balls around, It's one of those. I completely agree, Hamza. We had to rest him, but yeah, he was definitely a huge miss. We definitely missed a bit of his leadership. But yeah, a lot of 8s, a few 8.5s, decent amount of 7s and 7.5s. So I'm going to go with a 7.5 for Stonesy as Man City Fan TV's aggregated man of the match and best performer on the night for sure for me. And that. Yeah, the chainsaw's warming up, Alan. Vroom, 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 vroom. And that leads us nicely onto his centre-back partner, which was a surprise birth of Ake coming in with the unfortunate lack of fitness for Laporte, which I expected to play in that position. For me, came in, looked lost a bit, wasn't great all night, bit of a poor game. I gave him a 5.5. Not like horrifically abysmal, terrible, but not good by any stretch of the imagination for me. And I gave him, as I said, a 5.5. Let's just see what Andy's thoughts on Ake were while your guys' scores are coming through. He went with Ake, he said a 5. Didn't look match fit, hard to judge him. Yeah, I'm a similar boat. I gave him a 5.5 mainly because of how long he's been out. He's been chucked in more so than anything else. There's other guys that had performances that have been in and about the team for ages. So it's one of those. But we'll get into your guys' comments now. Let me go back to the top, see where we're starting from. Here's a miserable git, innit? Here's a miserable git. Did I stick Ake down there somewhere? I'm completely lost where I am, mate. Completely lost where I am. There we are. Sorry about that, guys. Lost in the comments. Man City starting us off with a 2 for Ake. Sean's gone with a 7. Kieran went with a 6. David went with a 2. Alan's gone with a 6. Chris went with 6, did okay for me. 6.1 for Dupes. He's went very aggressive. Hamza saying 6, can't blame him. Been out for ages. Exactly, mate. That's why I went with a 5.5. Didn't think he was great, but there's reasons why you don't expect him to come back in and be amazing, do you? 5.5 for Simon. Careful, Reno. Only Dupes with the points. But yeah, 5.8 for you. 6 for SOS. 7 for Neil. Ake played well. We missed him when he was subbed. Yeah, we missed the pace at centre-back. That's what we missed. Ake a 6 for Kamal. Where are we at? 6.5 for Braden. Not his fault. He's not fit. Not played for ages. Covering for Mendy's mistakes. 6. Yeah, like I could agree with a lot of you. The Dortmund went really well. We did about 45, 50 minutes. Josh was really kind with his time with us, Andy. We had a good old chat. Went into a few things. We talked a little bit about Haaland at the end and that sort of stuff. Talked a few things about what his thoughts are on that. And from what I saw in the comments, everyone seemed to enjoy it. So anyone who's joining us a bit late, we did do a Dortmund preview. So when this one's over, go back and check it out if you're interested in that one. We had a preview with a Dortmund fan channel who does content around Dortmund and the Canadian national team is Canadian Dortmund fan. Josh, he was absolute pleasure to have on. It was top bloke. Asked if one of us could go over to his channel on the after the game and do something with him. So I'm sure we'll oblige. But yeah, going on to Ake, some of the other comments for him. 4.5 from Eddie for Ake. He had to do his job and Mendy's. Yeah, I say that's 6.5 from Martin. 6 from Charlie. Play him at left back. I think his best positions at left back or third of a 3 for me. Yeah, I completely agree, Charlie. Ake wouldn't have played if Laporte was fit. So yeah. Anyone who's given 2s and 3s as scores is getting chainsawed. Don't be stupid. There you go. You've been warned, guys. No 2s or 3s allowed. No 2s or 3s allowed. Ake was a 6 actually, so a bit of a change of his mind. He wrote 2 by a mistake. That's no problem, mate. Cal's on. Hello, mate. He's saying, hope the family's well. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Mum's always doing more than she should, but she never listens. What can you do? He's saying he'll be watching back. Good man, mate. It was a good chat. As I said, he was really generous with his time. He stayed on for about 45 minutes and really, really nice to chat to him. And we talked a little bit about Jude and a few of the other things. Really, really nice chat there. It was good bloke. Nice bloke. Cal's on. Hello, mate. He's got a few hellos saying, and any more on Ake. Tyrone's gone with a 6 and Linny's gone with a 5. So I think a lot of you guys are probably agreeing with me saying, didn't do too much wrong, didn't have the best of games, was help covering for Mendy was a lot of the themes there. So a lot of 6s, a lot of 5.5s, a few 7s in there, a few 6.5s. So I'm going to be generous with Ake and go with a solid 6 there. Solid 6, I think. Can't say for 6.5. Generous we are. Ake is 6.5. Been out for a long time. Can't expect too much from him. Come back in, had to play his part. But that wraps up the defense. And moving on to our defensive midfielder was the man, the myth, the Fernandinho. Obviously, you guys know I love Fernandinho. Had some really nice phases of play going forward. Looked quite inventive at times. Looked a little bit trying to break the lines, but I thought overall we didn't have the best of games for me, guys. I really didn't think he played too well. If you take the whole game into account and what his role in the game was, didn't think he did enough with the ball. I didn't think he was aggressive enough without the ball, and I really didn't like the change when he went to centre back. But that's not his fault. Pep chose to put him there, so I'm not blaming that one on him. But there was some good play in there. He did some good stuff with the ball. So I'm just going to give him good game, an average 6. An average 6 for me for Fernandinho. Let's just see what Andy thought. I'm going to read this one out. He went 6.5, would have been a 7. Some of his passing was excellent, but gave away some very sloppy balls that led to counter attacks. So yeah, very similar to me. What I think gave him a little 0.5 higher than me, but I went with a 6 for Dino. But let's get back to the top so I can find out where I actually stood it. So I'm not doing it again. There we go. I found it this time. It didn't take me half an hour this time, guys. Kieran's kicking us off, and he's gone with an 8, and he's saying he was his man of the match. Furnace, 6.1 for Dupes. Kamal went with a 5.5. Charlie's agreeing with me, an average 6. Osin's on. Hello, mate. He's saying a 7. Simon went with a 7. Eddie's went with a 5.5. Tyrone went with a 6. Low-Fat M16's on. Hello, mate. He went with a 6. Man City fan went with a 6. Linny went with a 7. Yeah, he is always stuffed, isn't he? To be fair, I haven't had my dinner yet. I'm gonna have it after this. I'm eating late. I don't know why. I should have eaten before I started. He says, Kurt, do you know because Fernandinho is part of Dad's army? Yeah, we can have him for free. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with that one, mate. 6 for SOS. Sean's given him a 7.5. Did well in midfield, but then struggled when he went to the back. Yeah, definitely struggled when he went to the back. Fernandinho 7, good overall, but he looked tired late on. Yep, completely agree with that. Chris has gone with an 8 for the first half, 5 for the second half, so a 6.5. Yeah. Hamza's gone with a 6.5. Reno's gone with a 6. Not bad. Not bad. Looked like he'd be good in a better squad. Yeah, if we were playing with a few better players around him, I'm sure his performance would have upped. But he was the experienced man in there, and I didn't think he did enough for me. But still didn't have a terrible game. Let's be real. Braden's got a 7.5. My man in the match behind Stones. Get him that contract extension. I agree with the contract extension, mate. Sir Alan's gone with a 6 for Fernat as CDM, and then when he moved a lot lower. But it's not his fault. It's Pep's fault. Yeah, I agree. It's not his fault. He got stuck at centre backs. Hello, chaps. Hello. Hope you're doing well. M16, mate. Low fat one. And Andy's saying, don't forget to give Kurt a like. Yeah, I haven't done all that good jazz. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, bell notifications, turn your public to private, all that good stuff. I need to get like a sound bite for that so I can just play it so I don't have to say it every time. But yeah, do all that. Thanks very much, guys. I love coming on chatting to you guys. And it was really nice to chat to Josh before, and it's always good to do these player ratings. Not the funnest one tonight because it wasn't the greatest performance, but you still got to do them. And then moving into his partner on the left-hand side, who I thought was right behind Stones for man of the match from the City's perspective, was Mr. Zinchenko. And yeah, I thought comfortable, did well, some really nice passes in there. I gave him a 7. Let's see what Andy thought about Zinchenko. He said made some great crosses and corners, developed play well with quick passing, but again, not positionally aware when moved to left back. Yeah, I think I really liked his performance. For me personally, I thought he had a good game, but that was Andy's thoughts on Zinny. Let's get into what you guys thought about Zinchenko. Hamza starting us off with a 7. Charlie's gone with bang average again, 6. Reno's gone with 6.5. Was not mad, but didn't stand out. Chris has gone with me with a 7. Thought he played well. Simon's gone with a 7. Careful, mate. It's only point silliness is for Dupes, mate. But yeah, 7.3 from Osin. 6.5 from Kamal. Said played well. Tyrone's gone with a 9, should have had 2 assists. Yeah, he did some amazing deliveries, definitely. SOS with a 7. Eddie's gone with a 6.5 for Zinc. And Alan's gone with a 7, played well. 7.5 for Linny, did well, steady. David's gone with a 7. Neil's gone with an 8.5. Great crossing and passing. Amazing what a midfielder can do in his natural position. Yeah, he looked really comfortable and really composed. He's just a good player, isn't he? Not too shabby at all. Low Fat's gone with a 5.5. Zinny moves the ball slowly, and he's thinking, I don't agree with you there, mate. You're obviously entitled to your opinion, but I thought he progressed the ball quite quickly for me personally, mate. But as I said, all opinions, but I thought he moved the ball quite quickly. Sean's gone with a 6.5. Does not suit playing in midfield in Pep system. I thought he did really well on the left-hand side of a midfield 3, honestly. I thought it was quite good for me. Dupes has gone with a 7.1. Boss Chris, mate. I'm just having a chin wag between themselves. Hope you're doing well, Cal, mate. Braden's gone with a 7 to finish us off. So a lot of 6s, a lot of 7s, a couple 8s, 1 8.5, I think it was, 2 8.5s there. So I think we'll just go with a solid 7 for Zinny on this one, boys. Because it was a lot of 7s. As I said, there was only a couple of the 8s in that. So yeah. I'm grateful for you boys, appreciating the Zinchenko. He's a lovely man, and I really do like Mr. Zinky himself. And yeah, it will be nice when we get to Sterling, won't it? But the other man in midfield, Bernardo Silva, who I thought had really poor game, if I'm being honest, mate. He only had two chances, but the 2 chances he had were such high quality chances, and not to even get him on the target is just unforgivable for me. He has to be putting those away, or at least working the goalie. For me, I think this is the lowest rating I've ever given Bernardo that I can think of, and I put him alongside the sort of Mendy performances, those sort of performances, and I've gone with a 5.5. I really didn't think he was great, lads. Really didn't think it was great. But let's just see what Andy thought before we get into your guys, whilst they're all loading up on the old chat. Bernardo, 5 from Andy. Some woeful shooting from 8 to 10 yards. Nice assist for Torres' goal, but work rate is simply not good enough in this team when we don't rely on 20-plus goals from a striker. His goal assist stats are the poorest out of our attacking midfielders. Needs to up his game. So, yeah, for me, I gave him a 5.5. Andy gave him a 5, and let's just get into what you guys gave him. Alan's gone with a 7. I think that's a bit high for me personally, but fair enough. Tyrone's gone with a 6, average 6 from Charlie, a 5.5 from Kieran, so he's with me on that one. A 5.5 from Kamal, 5.5 from Simon, a 5.5 from Chris. He said bad game in front of goal, but won the ball a lot. Yeah, credit where credit's due. He did win the ball a lot, but should be doing a lot better. Bernardo, 6.5, nothing special, but he got the assist. So Neil's bumping it up a little bit for that one, that assist one. Yeah, I agree with you, Alan. Missed great chances. He really did. Eddie Brownhill's gone with a 5.5, not his best game from Bernardo. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't his shining light against Leeds, was it? Bernie's gone with a 6. Hams has gone with a 5.5. David's gone with a 5. Low Fat's gone with a 5. Big jump there. SOS has gone with a 5. Cheers, Bilal. He says, hello from Algeria. Good luck in the Champions League. Hopefully. We'll need all the luck we can get, mate. Bernardo, 5.1 from Dupes. Sean's gone with a 5.5. Was poor. Missed a great chance when he had a volley that went wide. Yeah, and he had the one that went over as well. It should be getting on target as well. Yeah, Lenny gave him the extra point for the assist. Yeah, that's pretty much me, mate. Oh, you would have been a 5 if he didn't get the assist. Any more on Bernardo? Reno's gone with a 6. I rate Bernardo a lot, though. I do rate Bernardo a lot, but he's not been having the greatest of performances recently. So it's one of those, mate. It's one of those. A couple of the boys are getting into it with Alan and that about his rating for Bernardo. But let's just scroll back and see what the aggregate is. A lot of 5.5s. Couple 6s, couple 6.5s, couple 5s. So I think I'm gonna go with a 5.5, probably closer to a 5.5 to a 6. But yeah, I'm gonna go on the low end of a 5.5 for Bernardo. Like I say, it wasn't like he was absolutely dreadful, but it wasn't great, was it? And that concludes the midfield. And then obviously moving on to the forwards, we'll start off with the man who got the goal. Torres himself, who I thought had a really in and out game, didn't really get into the game too much on that right flank. Definitely is not challenging Morris for a starting berth, but good to get his goal. And I'm very similar with Bernardo's scores bumped up a tiny little bit because obviously he did get that goal. So I went with a 5.5 for Torres. It's kind of similar to Ake in a way where he hasn't played an exceptionally large amount of football for us. So I'm not going to be super, super critical. And he is our third choice right winger at the end of the day. So, but I didn't think he had a great game, but he did put his chance away at the end of the day. So giving him the extra 0.5 for that. Let's just see what Andy thought about Torres. He went Torres 5, would have been a 4, but for his goal, simply non-existent, needs to contribute far more. But another who hasn't had much game time. So, yeah, like I say, taking into account his game time for me there as well a little bit. So, Andy went with a 5. I went with a 5.5. And let's see what you guys in chat went for the man himself, Torres. Tyrone's starting us off. I always want to say Douglas, mate, instead of Tyrone. I don't know why. Starting us off with a 7. Kieran's gone with a 6.5. Simon's gone with a 6. Charlie's gone with a 6. Alan's agreeing with me, 5.5. Reno's gone okay, 6. SOS has gone with a 6. Kamal's gone with a 5.5. Chris has gone with a 6. David's gone 6.5. Hamza 6. He's always quiet, then somehow scores. Yeah, it does seem to be the way. It happens in the national team a lot as well. I didn't watch all of Spain's game, but he didn't look too lively in that game. Torres needs game time, 5.5. Yeah, like I said, my score was taken into account game time as well. I tried to anyway. Sean 4. He scored, but apart from that, he was non-existent. Yeah, he didn't have a great goal. -5 plus 0.5 for the goal gives him a 5.5. So Eddie's with me with the 5.5. Low Fat's gone with a 6. Neil Hanstock's gone with a 7. He says Ferran 7. If any of our other forward line could be as calm and composed in front of goal. Yeah, he does seem to be calm and composed. I'll give him that. Dupe's actually gone to a 6.7. If that was Sterling or Jesus, he would have been blasted to Mars, yeah. And Andy's saying, Alan, 7 for Bernardo, but Torres gets a 5.5. Yeah, I don't get that one either for me personally, but it is what it is. Wanchuk Yedikov's on. Hello, mate. He's saying 6. Could Cole Palmer do the same job and save us 20 mil? Potentially, but I don't think the price we paid for Ferran's still, mate. If we were to put him on the open market, he wouldn't be going for 25 mil, mate. Braden's gone with 6.5 anymore for Ferran. Occasion's gone with a 6.5. Just say T, Kurt. Yeah, that's it. Big T, man. Big T. What's up, Big? No, I'll try. Oh, dear. Yeah, so let's have a little aggregation of what we've got going on here. A lot of 5s, 6s, 7s, 5.5s, 6.5s. I'm going to go with the 6, just adding the extra 0.5 for the goal. But yeah, apart from the goal, what did he really offer? What did he really offer? That's the question I put. What did he really offer? And then moving over to the other flank, a man with probably a day to forget at the office, Raz, who not going well for him at the moment recently. He had 5 opportunities, couldn't put one of them away. Really wasteful. Didn't with them having so many men back in the second half, he didn't look like he had any space to operate and didn't look like he was ever going to get anything done, honestly. It just felt like he could play all night and he wasn't going to score, one of those sort of situations for me, which is a bit sad because he's not been having the greatest time over the last few games, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, I've got to be honest with you guys. I went with a 5. He's my joint lowest score for the night, and I went with a 5 for Raz. Just for me, simply not good enough for how important he is to our team and what he should really be giving us. So yeah, I went with a 5. And let's see what Andy said. Andy went Sterling. He gave him a 5, so same as me. He said to himself, a day to forget, simply needs to improve his shooting from the edge of the area. Too many runs into channels and gets lost and loses the ball cheaply. Not a great day for us. So we must have been writing the notes at the same time, mate, because you're pretty much bang on with what I've said. Yeah, really not a great day at the office for Raz, and he's been poor in a few games. It's not the first game he's been poor in recently, so it's a tough one. Kicking us off for the chat votes. Simon's gone with a 5. Kieran's gone with a 4. SOS has gone with a 4. David's gone with a no-brainer 1. I think 1's a bit silly, mate, but fair enough. Sterling's gone with a 4 from Kamal for Sterling. Lenny's asking, was Raz playing? You see him with missing all those shots? Because I certainly did, so I remember that. Charlie hitting us with a bit of sarcasm, I hope, and he's saying 10. Brilliant performance, best game in the City shirt, I thought. Chris is bringing us back down to 4 bobbins. Sean's going 3.5. It would have been lower because he's a City player. He's not. Yeah. Raz 5.1. I'm going to be fair. Unfair rating is 2.1. Yeah, I could have given him a little bit lower, but I think 5's what I gave him. Yeah, Big T's gone with a 5. He says, did not have a good game. Thought he was too greedy a few times. So did I, mate. I thought you should. If you're going to be greedy, put it in the back of the net. You know what I mean? Hams has gone with a 4. Couldn't finish, but the racial abuse on social media got us disgusting. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting that when a black player or a mixed race player or a player of a different race or whatever has a bad game of football and it gets that sort of hurled abuse, it's just absolutely disgusting, mate. These people are just cretins, mate. Absolute scum of the earth, absolute scum of the earth, mate. So it's just, yeah, disgraceful, mate. Absolutely disgraceful. I completely agree with you. Just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it? It's just wrong, mate. Absolutely wrong. But it's a sad part of reality that there's a lot of people out there these days that do this sort of stuff, and it's really sad. But hopefully it'll change, mate. Hopefully. Neil's gone with a 6. Tries hard, but his confidence seems to be shot. Eddie's gone with a 4 for Sterling. Ran out of form and out of confidence. Yeah, it's rough, isn't it? Raz, worst I've seen him in a City shirt. Rabbit in the headlights near goal. Shocking 4 from Wanchuk Yedikov's. Lenny's gone with a 5 for Raz. Needs to wake up. 0 plus 2, so a 2 from Alan. 5 slow in decision making. Scott Williams is joining us. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. He's gone with a 4.5. Low Fat's gone with a 4 for Raheem. his head back up his backside and get the lights out, get the lighter out again. Yeah, the headlight, yeah, it was like blinkers, wasn't it? Yeah, it was rough. Sterling needs to work on his finishing. It's trash. It's not great, is it? Braden's gone with a 3. Reno's gone. He does not know what to do with the ball apart from flying over. I think when they sit that deep, he looks a bit clueless, honestly. Hashtag diabolical, hashtag agenda, but gives a player who missed 3 great chances from 8 to 10 yards of 7. Yeah, I don't think Andy's letting the Bernardo score go on that one. 5.5 from Charlie. Okay, my keyboard was playing up. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, mate. I got a bit confused there with that one. So, Son was getting racial abuse. It's just disgusting. It doesn't matter what race you are. It's just absolutely disgusting to give someone abuse based on the skin color that they were born with. It's just ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, exactly, Alan. They're just scum cretins. It beggars belief, honestly. It really does sometimes. How these people, what kind of, yeah. Yeah, Hamza's coming back with it, saying all the haters will be quiet when he gets back to his good form. Yeah, hope that's what we're all hoping, mate. We all want to see Raz back onto form. That's what we want to see. One shot you did got saying, I think the best way Raz to get on track is for us to get behind the guy. We know he can do it. Yeah, we know he can do it. He's having a bit of a rough form, and I'm not hating on the guy, but I'm going to call out a bad performance. Let's be real with it. And Linny's with me, and I hope he does, mate. We always say form is temporary, class is permanent, and we know Sterling's class, so we'll get back to it. He'll get back to it. Some people are actually deluded, which the so-called City fans saying Sterling out. They are the same people who were saying Pep out at the start of the season. Some people are just very reactionary, mate. It's just the way it is. I'm sure if, like, on reflection, it's one of those, isn't it? Yeah, Chris is saying Raz can be devastating, but is inconsistent. So let me just wrap up the Raz score there, because obviously we're getting off the scores now. We're just having a bit of a chin wipe between ourselves. I'm just going to go with a 4 for Raz. It's not great. Not great. And to finish us off with the player scores, we're going to finish up with Gabby. So get your scores in for the main man, Gabby himself. Yeah, for me, could have done a little bit better with the couple opportunities he had. Looked a bit ragged at times. Really pressed well. Did some good winning the ball high up the pitch, but wasn't a great performance. I gave him a 5.5. Let's see what Andy thought. He said he's looking less and less like a striker. Maybe he needs to move to the left and get more chances to cut in and shoot or link up with others. His goal ratio is decent, but just doesn't have striker's eyes, in my opinion. And he went with a 5. So, yeah, that's that one. Send these scores into City. All right, so I always do this. Gabby, lose where I am in the chaps. Eddie Brownhill's kicking us off, and he says Jesus 4.5 seems to have lost the ability to shoot on target. Yeah, I think a lot of our players has. Ras movement's always brilliant, but his decision making before. Yeah, we all know about his movement, Addy, but yeah, the decision making was awful. Kieran's gone with a 5. Simon's gone with a 5 for Gabby. David's gone with a 4. Alan's gone with a 4. SOS has gone with a 5. Sterling, not striker, 4. We're for Gabby now, mate. There we go. 5.5 from Charlie Everett. Sean's gone with a 5. Oh, massive jump. Scott's gone with a 5. Chris has gone with a 4.5. 5 from Hamza. He's just not the man to replace Kuhn. Yeah, I think a lot of us will echo that sentiment, but still a very good squad player to have and very good asset to the team. Gabby isn't a striker, but for him, I'd say a 6.5. Gabby 5, he's a winger for Defo. 5.1 from Dupes. Needs to be on the wings. Pep, please just stick him on the wings. He's not ahead on the left wing of Foden though, is he? So even if he is, he's fighting with Sterling for second or third choice on that one, right? So for that, let's see for any more with the scores. Big T saying 5 needs to start being in the box. Doesn't seem to want to be in a box, and he's decent. Yeah, I don't get it. He's obviously, I don't know. It's one of those, isn't it? We'd all love to know why he scores a lot of goals, but when you watch him play, sometimes you wouldn't notice sometimes.
That's what it feels like sometimes. Kamal's gone with Jesus, not a striker for, yeah. It's a rough one for that. Gabby 5 from One Chop Your Dick Off. Low Fat M16's echoing what a lot of the guys are saying. Not a centre forward and giving him a 5. And Arnav's on hello, mate. He's gone with a 4 for Gabby. Alec Johnson saying, it's funny all these low ratings. We bullied Leeds just off finishing needs to improve. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I don't think, my lowest score tonight was a 5 and my highest score was a 7. So I think with the ratings of the scores that I put in tonight, obviously I can only speak for myself. I thought the reality was a lot of people just didn't have good games. It's not like they were so bad that they need to be, condemned or something. They just didn't. Too many people didn't have good enough games, and we didn't put the chances that we created away. But yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If they want to go low scores, mate, it's fair enough. But let's try and aggregate Jesus. A lot of 5s in there, a few 4s in there. Couple 4.5s. So I'm going to go with just a 4.5 for Jesus there. One of those guys. So yeah, I know that sort of wraps us up. Obviously, we've been on for quite a long time because obviously we had the preview on earlier. So if anyone who's just joining us a bit late, I did a preview with a Dortmund fan, Josh from JJDT TV. And he was absolute pleasure. Stayed on a lot longer than he needed to and gave us a lot of his time and his thoughts on the game and a few other things and whatnot. So if you want to go back and watch that, feel free. Obviously, we've got the live stream coming up for the watch along on Wednesday with me and Martin doing the sort of usual shtick that we do. So that'll be good fun. And then obviously Tom will be on Thursday night, I assume, doing player ratings for the Champions League game. So it's a bit of a busy one. And obviously Friday night's the first FNS on the Patreon, which has been launched this week. And just getting that one in the chat for you guys. I'm sure it's in the description as well. But anyone who hasn't, go over and check it out there. It's got some more information there. There's 3 different tiers, one at £5, £10 and £15. And obviously in there, you'll have some bit more information about that. Any particular questions about the Patreon stuff, send them over to Andy and he'll be able to help you out with that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's been a pleasure coming on, guys. Obviously we've done the community poll and that was Stones who won it. We've gone through our player ratings for tonight. Just trying to think if there's anything else I need to remember before we chip off for the night, boys. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to us. I know it wasn't the greatest game against Leeds, but we're going to have bad days at the office, and we've got a big game coming up on Wednesday, which is hopefully going to be an exciting game, and hopefully we all enjoy it. But as I said, we've got the watch along on Wednesday, 7:30 start. Thursday's Tom. He's later now at 9 o'clock because he's back doing his football training, I believe. So I believe it's 9 o'clock starts for Tom. And then obviously Friday Night Social debuting on the Patreon, obviously on Friday. So if you want to get involved in that, join the Patreon and everything. I'll just get into some of your goodbyes and whatnot before I get off. But thanks to everyone who's joined in and got involved in that. If you've not stuck the thumbs up, might as well, you know what I mean? You might as well. But yeah. Thanks to everyone who's joined me. Always a pleasure to chat to you, lads and lasses. One Shop saying, great show, Kurt. Thanks, mate. Chris saying, well done, Kurt. Great vlog, mate. Yeah, it was a bit of a longer one than I expected, but I'm always happy to chat to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Great stream, Kurt. You're my favorite presenter. Cheers, mate. Always love your guys' interaction. I'm glad you enjoy it, dupes. Swap Sir Alan for Haaland. I don't think they're taking, mate. They haven't got enough crumpets. They haven't got enough crumpets, man. They haven't got enough crumpets. Kamal saying, cheers, guys. Cheers, Kamal. Thanks for joining us, mate, as always. Charlie saying, thanks, Kurt, for coming on tonight. Been great watching, mate. Come on, City. Yeah, excited for Wednesday. I'm going to be really nervous on that watch-along, guys. I'm going to be bricking it, I'll tell you that. Alex just saying, we need a young striker. We don't want to be like the rags and our grandfather F. Yeah, we don't want an old one, but that one's for another day. I don't even. I think Alec, Pep and not Pep, Alan and Andy are getting into it a bit. But yeah, cheers, Kieran. Thanks very much, David. Cheers, Big T. Thanks, Simon, Harvey, all you guys. Absolute pleasure to chat to you. Alan's going to finish us off with a super chat saying, Pep, 4 bad team selections and moving Furner to centre back was stupid. The only thing I'll agree with you there, Alan, is I didn't agree with Ferner going to centre back, mate. I didn't like it at all. SOS and Alec are saying, cheers, Kurt, for a great show. Thank you, guys. Hamza saying, cheers, Kurt, earned a new subscriber. Thank you very much for subscribing, mate. I hope you enjoy the content. And as I said to you guys, Wednesday for the watch along, Thursday's Tom's show, and the Friday night socials debuting on Patreon on Friday. So I don't know if Andy's jumping on or doing anything in particular tomorrow. So we'll see for that one. But as always, keep in touch with the community polls. There's always stuff going on there every day. Link for JJD TV's channels in the description if you want to go check him out and give him a thumbs up and say thanks for coming onto our channel. And as always, up the Blues, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. And take care, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a good one. Take care, guys.